So good day, everyone. Our topic for today is about the second pillar of the criminal justice system, which is the prosecution. So, as you may remember, we always reiterate yung chronological order ng CJS. Di ba? So, law enforcement, prosecution, korte, um, pros- corrections, and the community. So, yung chronological order na yon signifies yung contact ng akusado. So, each pillar ng CJS. So, once the accused committed an offense, immediately ang magre-respond dyan ay yung law enforcement. Now, after the law enforcement, hindi naman tayo dediretso sa korte agad. Hindi magde-decide si judge kung convicted ba or acquitted yung akusado, but rather sa prosecution muna tayo. So sa prosecution, titignan kung may information or may saktal pang isasampa sa korte, and at the same time, magkakaroon tayo ng paglilitis kung saan titignan kung ang akusado bang to base sa mga ebidensya committed the offense. Okay, so that is part of the due process of law. Now, okay. So ito yung process ng prosecution. So una, it is a process of instituting and undertaking criminal proceedings against any persons in the court of law. Okay, so hindi pwedeng magkaroon ng judgment yung korte. Hindi magkakaroon ng conviction or ng acquittal hanggat hindi pa tayo dumadaan sa court of law. Otherwise, we are violating the right of the accused sa kanyang due process. Pangalawa, it pertains only to criminal proceedings. So, lahat ng mga paglabag sa revised penal code and other special laws, ang mga kasong hinahawakan ng prosecution. So kung ang kaso ay pagpatay, pagnanakaw, pag-falsify, or whatnot, those that are enumerated under the RPC or under special laws that we have, then subsequent prosecution po ang bahala dyan. Now, kung ang kaso naman is about civil or something administrative, then hindi po papasok si prosecution. Pangatlo, it is a proceeding instituted and carried on by due process of law before a competent court for the purpose of finding the guilt or the innocence of the accused. Ito yung sinasabi natin, no? So, kinakailangan muna na magkaroon ng pagdinig or paglilitis in compliance sa ating due process of law. And the investigation and the prosecution of all cases involving violations of penal laws are lodged through the DOJ through its National Prosecution Service. So, ang prosecution po ay nakaangkla sa Department of Justice. Now, the prosecution exercises quasi-judicial functions. We have to distinguish first what is the difference between the judicial and quasi-judicial functions. Now, from the term itself, yung judicial, it is only being exercised by the courts and by the judges. On the other hand, yung quasi-judicial, sila yung mga administrative or regulatory agencies that exercise discretion, nagde-decide sila ng mga situations, ng mga facts that were presented to them, but they are not part of the judiciary, they are not the courts, they are not the judges. Now, ang prosecution ay nag-exercise ng quasi-judicial functions kasi halimbawa, pag nagkakaroon ng preliminary investigation, no? So, before yung kaso ifa-file sa korte, mag-file muna ng complaint affidavit sa complainant. Now, afterwards, si akusado, magpa-file siya ng counter affidavit, then si complainant ulit, pwede siyang mag-file ng reply, and then so on. Okay, so after nung pag-file ng mga ganitong affidavit, saka pa lamang magkakaroon ng resolution si piskal or si prosecutor kung whether or not the case has been committed and the accused is probably guilty thereof. Okay, so kung nakita niyang may basihan, may legal na batayan na ginawa ng akusado yung krimen, saka pa lamang siya magfa-file ng information yung tawag natin doon or ng sakdal before sa korte. So, yun yung pag-exercise niya ng quasi-judicial function. Now, we have also to distinguish the difference between prosecution and persecution. Okay, so prosecution is bringing legal action against for the redress or punishment for a crime or a violation of law. So, nagkakaroon ng prosecution, nagkakaroon ng paglilitis kapag ang isang tao ay gumawa ng krimen punishable under RPC and under special laws. And then, the intention of which is para to redress grievance, para managot siya sa mga crimes na ginawa niya. On the other hand, persecution is to harass or punish in a manner designed to injure, grieve, or afflict, specifically to cause suffering because of belief. Nagkaroon ng persecution kapag merong harassment designed to prejudice ang specific individual. So halimbawa, against ka sa gobyerno. Now, the government will fabricate now these particular cases against you. So because of that, may mga criminal charges ka na. That's what we call political persecution. Okay, so now let's move on sa history ng prosecution. Okay, so it can be traced way back during the Spanish regime. So meron tayong tinatawag na provisional law and criminal procedure called the sumario. So during that time, yung mga magistrate o those who serves as judges, nagkakaroon ng fact-finding inquiry tungkol sa mga reklamo or kung ang isang tao ba ay gumawa ng offense. So during that time, accusatorial yung system. Unlike now, no, inquisitorial, kung saan the accused is the presumed innocent until the contrary is proved. During that time, kabaliktaran. So it is parang yung burden ay nasa akusado para i-prove na wala siyang ang ginawang masama. So during the US occupation, specifically during the 1900s, the Justice of Peace, during that time kasi Justice of Peace yung tawag sa kanila. But ngayon, sila na yung mga judge. Exercise, meron silang jurisdiction sa mga trial of all criminal cases. Okay, during also that time, the municipal presidents or the mayors ang conduct preliminary investigation kung wala yung mga judges of peace. Justice of Peace rather. So, sa ngayon, yung pag-conduct ng preliminary investigation ay exclusive na lamang po sa mga fiscal or sa prosecutor. So, ngayon, ano ba yung difference ng fiscal and prosecutors? They are just the same. Okay, so dati kasi, years ago, tawag sa nila fiscal, but ngayon, ang prosecutor na. So during 1980, nagkaroon ng first rules of court. So dito nakalatag yung mga procedure sa Supreme Court and the Court of First Instance. So yung Regional Trial Court ngayon, CFI yung tawag sa kanya dati. So nandito rin nakalagay kung paano yung pag-practice of law. So, in 1940, nagkaroon ulit ng bagong or amended rules of court and dito na naka-incorporate yung rules on criminal procedure. Now, let's move on to the history of the Department of Justice. So, noong April 17, 1897, dito nagsimula, merong Revolutionary Assembly in Naay, Cavite. So, the establishment of regime of law was tasked to Don Severino de las Alas, who headed the Department of Grace and Justice. Okay, so after independence in 1898, Aguinaldo issued a decree on September 26, 1896, reorganizing the department. So, noong 1901, this is during the American occupation, American military force established the office of the attorney of the Supreme Court in place of the departments. So, the new office was renamed the Office of the Attorney General and subsequently became the Department of Finance and Justice. So in 1916, the department became a separate entity and was given executive supervision over all courts of first instance and other inferior courts. So as you can see, sobrang iba ng sistema dati. So, yung yung Department of Justice, meron siyang executive oversight or supervision sa mga korte. Whereas ngayon, yung supervision ng mga courts ay nakalodge na sa Supreme Court. Okay, kasi executive na yung functions ng DOJ sa yung sa sistema natin ngayon. So, unlike during US occupation. So, nung Japanese occupation naman, the department was made a commission. The civilian government established by the Japanese in 1943 changed it to a ministry. So, after the war, during the Commonwealth government, na-reestablish yung Department of Justice, na-reactivate siya. Okay. So, during the martial law era, the government reorganized the executive branch. So, nakaangkla na sa agency na to yung financial and management service, administrative service, technical staff, the prosecution staff, legal staff, and the judiciary division, the Commission on Immigration and Deportation, the NBI, the Office of the Government Corporate Counsel, the Board of Pardons and Parole, the Bureau of Prisons, and the Citizens Legal Assistance Office. So, nung 1973 Constitution, the department became a Ministry of Justice. And currently, ito yung sistema natin ngayon after the 1986 People Power. So after that, nagkaroon ng Constitution and yung mga departments ay nasa executive branch na sila. Okay, so yung sistema natin ngayon, the DOJ, the prosecution is under the DOJ and it is exercising executive functions, executive and quasi-judicial functions. Now, ito yung functions ng DOJ now. So first is it is the principal law agency and legal counsel of the government. It serves as the government's prosecution arm and administers the government criminal justice system by investigating crimes, prosecuting offenders, and overseeing the correction system. So, sila po, ang mga piskal under the DOJ, sila yung naglilitis, sila yung sila yung primary counsel ng state sa mga low-level courts. Okay, so kung makikita nyo, kung mapapansin nyo, kapag ang kaso is criminal, di ba, ang title niyan is People of the Philippines versus De La Cruz. No, hindi siya like Garcia versus Santos, hindi siya ganun. Kasi even though a crime has been committed against a specific individual, that offense is not only limited to that offended party, but rather to the society as a whole. Kasi it is the obligation of the state to protect, to ensure peace and order and justice sa kanyang society. So any wrongdoings or any violation of the law is deemed to be a violation also or to be a violation also against the state. Okay, so ngayon, yung mga offended party, they are only considered as a witness sa mga criminal prosecution. So third, they also regulate the immigration and meron tayong international cooperation and alternative dispute resolution. Okay, so ito yung mga agencies naman na naka-anchor or attached to the DOJ. The first one is the Bureau of Corrections. So they are charged with the custody and rehabilitation of national offenders, that is those sentenced to serve a term of imprisonment of more than 3 years. So sa Bureau of Corrections, ibig sabihin final na and executory yung judgment, wala nang appeal na nangyari. So nagsiserve na ng sentence yung taong yun. So, nag-serve na siya ng sentence and yung sentence niya ay more than 3 years of imprisonment. So, sa Bureau of Immigration naman, it also exercises quasi-judicial functions affecting the entry and the stay of foreign nationals in the country. So, the third one is the LRA or the Land Registration Authority. Excuse me. It is tasked with the issuing registration decree and certificates of title and registering land documents, patents, and transactions. So, ang goal niya ay to provide secure and reliable record of land partner ownership and interests, benefiting the landowners, agrarian reform beneficiaries, and the public while supporting social and economic development. So we also have the NBI, what we discussed this last time. So it is also, NBI is law enforcement pero nakaangkla din siya sa DOJ. So responsible siya sa handling of high-profile cases. We also have the Office of the Government Corporate Counsel. It has emerged as the premier law office of the government-owned and controlled corporations, their subsidiaries, their corporate offspring, and government-acquired asset corporations. So we also have the Office of the Solicitor General. So sila rin yung legal representative of the government of the Republic, its agencies and instrumentalities, and its officials and agents in litigation. So, di ba kunwari, sa RTC kasi, sa RTC or sa MTC, ang nagre-represent sa victim ay yung mga fiscal or yung mga prosecutors. Now, on appeal, specifically sa Court of Appeals or the Supreme Court, ang nagre-represent na sa state ay ang Office of the Solicitor General. So, ganun yung setup dyan. So, we also have the Parole and Probation Administration or the Board of Pardons and Parole. So, the organization releases prisoners on parole and recommends the grant of presidential pardons. The Parole and Probation Administration, on the other hand, supervises the rehabilitation of parolees as well as probationers. So we also have the PCGG or the Presidential Commission on Good Governance. It is a focus on recovering ill-gotten wealth, investigating graft and corruption cases, and preventing future corruption, particularly related to the Marcos regime. And we also, of course, we have the PAO, the Public Attorney's Office, na nagpa-provide ng legal assistance, whether representation or consultation or legal advice, especially to the indigent litigants or indigent clients. So we have the Office of the Alternative Dispute Resolution. It is tasked to promote, develop, and expand the use of alternative dispute resolution in the private and public sectors. Kasi yung justice class is not limited only if you win the case. Mas effective siya kapag yung dalawang parties agree on a mutual settlement. So, on a mutual decision kung saan both of the parties receive a favorable decision. So, hindi kailangan dumaan sa korte kung kaya naman siyang isettle. Of course, we have the National Prosecution Service or the NPS. So they are empowered to investigate and prosecute all crimes described under the RPC. Investigate administrative cases against its own officers, prepare legal opinions or queries about violations of the RPC and other laws, and to review appeals to resolutions of cases by the prosecutor. So, dito pumapasok yung mga piskal and yung mga prosecutors natin. Okay? So, lastly, we have the ombudsman. Sila yung tinatawag na tanod bayan. So, they are responsible for investigating and prosecuting Philippine government officials accused of crimes, especially related to graft and corruption. Okay, so that would be all, and thank you very